You've been waiting for God to reveal your soulmate, expecting a dramatic moment of recognition, a lightning bolt feeling, an unmistakable sign that says, "This is the one." You've been looking for the Hollywood version. Love at first sight, instant chemistry, overwhelming attraction. But what if God's way of revealing your soulmate is nothing like what you've been expecting? What if He's been showing you all along, but through unexpected ways that require spiritual discernment rather than emotional fireworks? The first unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through friendship that develops before romance. Not the instant attraction that dominates your thoughts from day one, but genuine friendship that builds over time, creates foundation, and reveals character in ways that romantic intensity never could. God often reveals your soulmate by letting you know them as a friend first. Someone you trust, someone you enjoy, someone you respect, before any romantic feelings develop. This friendship becomes the foundation for something deeper, something more sustainable than what attraction alone could create. The Hollywood narrative tells you that when you meet your soulmate, you'll just know. There will be fireworks, butterflies, immediate chemistry. But that's not how God typically works. He builds relationship on foundation, not just feeling. He creates connection through shared values, spiritual alignment, and proven character. All things that friendship reveals far better than romance does. When you're friends first, you see them in normal contexts. You watch how they treat other people. You observe their consistency. You learn their character without the distortion that intense romantic attraction creates. Think about Isaac and Rebekah in Genesis 24. Rebekah agreed to marry Isaac before she ever met him. The commitment came before the romance. And when she finally saw him, the text says Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and married her. And she became his wife, and he loved her. The love came after the commitment. The foundation was built on covenant and character, and romance developed within that secure framework. This doesn't mean every friendship becomes romance. It means that when God is revealing your soulmate, He often does it through a relationship that started as friendship, because friendship creates the foundation that romance needs to survive long-term. The friendship proves character, reveals compatibility, creates trust. And when romance develops on top of that foundation, it's sustainable in ways that attraction-first relationships rarely are. When God is revealing your soulmate through friendship first, you'll notice certain patterns. You genuinely enjoy their company without the pressure of romantic expectations. You feel safe being yourself around them. You can have real conversations about things that matter. You've seen them in different contexts, how they handle stress, how they respond to conflict, how they treat people who can't benefit them. And somewhere along the way, as you've built this foundation of genuine friendship, you begin to see them differently. Not because they changed, but because your eyes opened to see what was there all along. Here's what's vital. Don't dismiss someone just because you didn't feel immediate romantic attraction. Don't overlook a genuine friendship because it doesn't match the Hollywood script of instant chemistry. Some of the strongest marriages began as friendships where one or both people didn't initially see the other as romantic. But God was building foundation, revealing character, and in His timing, He opened eyes to see what He'd been building all along. The second unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through their response to your worst moments. Anyone can look good when you're both at your best, when the date is perfect, when everything is going well. But God reveals your soulmate by showing you how they respond when you're at your worst, how they treat you when you're struggling, how they react when you're vulnerable, how they handle your imperfections, your bad days, your moments of weakness. That response reveals who they actually are, not who they can pretend to be when circumstances are favorable. In the early stages of relationships, both people present their best selves. You're trying to impress each other. You're highlighting your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. And that's natural, but it's not real. Real relationship happens when the performance ends and authenticity begins. When you stop trying to be impressive and start being honest. When your guard comes down and your real self shows up, flaws, struggles, bad days and all. And it's in those moments that God reveals who your soulmate actually is by showing you how they respond. Look at how Boaz responded to Ruth in Ruth 2-3. Ruth was a foreign widow with no status, no security, gleaning in the fields, the ancient equivalent of poverty. She was completely vulnerable with nothing to offer Boaz except her character and her need. And Boaz's response revealed everything about who he was. He protected her. He provided for her beyond what was required. He honored her. His response to her worst circumstances revealed the quality of his character. When God is revealing your soulmate through their response to your worst moments, they don't use your vulnerability against you. They don't make you feel small for struggling. They don't withdraw when you're not impressive. They respond with compassion, patience, support. They make you feel safe being honest about where you're actually at. And you realize that their response to you at your worst is more valuable than their attraction to you at your best. This is also how you recognize who isn't your soulmate. If someone only wants you when you're performing well, when you're meeting their expectations, when you're impressive or convenient, that's not covenant love. That's conditional acceptance. If they punish you for being human, for having bad days, for needing support, that's not the person God has for you. Real love meets you in your weakness and doesn't shame you for it. Here's what's essential. Pay attention to how they respond when you're not at your best. Anyone can be kind when you're impressive. Anyone can be patient when you're easy. But the person who responds with grace when you're struggling, with patience when you're difficult, with love when you're unlovable, that's the person whose character will sustain a marriage through decades of real life. God reveals your soulmate by letting you see how they treat you when you can't hide your humanity anymore. The third unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through what they bring out in you. Everyone focuses on how someone makes them feel, the butterflies, the excitement, the attraction. But God reveals your soulmate by showing you what they bring out in you. Not how you feel when you're with them, but who you become. Not the temporary emotional state they create, but the lasting character development they inspire. When God is revealing your soulmate, being with them makes you want to be a better version of yourself. Not because you're performing or trying to impress them, but because their presence naturally draws out qualities that honor God. They inspire you to be more patient, more kind, more self-controlled. They challenge you to grow in areas where you've been stagnant. They call out gifts you've been afraid to use. They make you want to pursue God more passionately, live with more integrity, love people more genuinely. Who you're becoming because of their influence is evidence this relationship is from God. Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." That's not a comfortable image. Iron sharpening iron creates friction, creates heat. But the result is that both edges become sharper. When God reveals your soulmate, He shows you someone who sharpens you, not someone who just makes you comfortable. Someone who challenges you to grow, who refuses to let you settle, who believes in who you're becoming. Contrast that with relationships that bring out your worst, where you're more jealous, more insecure, more controlling, where you compromise values you said were non-negotiable, where you're less spiritual, less healthy, less like the person God created you to be. Those relationships might feel intense. They might create strong emotions, strong chemistry, strong attachment. But intensity isn't the same as godliness. Strong feelings aren't the same as spiritual fruit. Here's what's fundamental. Stop evaluating relationships primarily on how they make you feel and start evaluating them on who you're becoming. If being with someone is making you more like Christ, more loving, more patient, more spiritually alive, that's evidence this relationship is from God. But if being with them is making you less like Christ, more worldly, more compromising, more distant from God, that's evidence you need to walk away, regardless of how strong your feelings are. The fourth unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through the peace of godly people who know you well. Not through your own feelings alone, but through the confirmation of spiritually mature believers who have no agenda except God's will for your life. God reveals your soulmate by giving peace to the people who know you best, who have watched you through different seasons, who can see clearly what you can't see when you're emotionally invested. Proverbs 11 verse 14 says, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety." God doesn't expect you to make the decision of who you'll marry in isolation. He uses his body to provide perspective you can't have when you're inside the relationship. When those people express consistent peace, that's confirmation. When they express consistent concern, that's a warning. In Genesis 24, Rebekah's family confirmed God's leading. Abraham's servant explained how God had answered his prayer through signs, and then Laban and Bethuel said, "This is from the Lord." Their confirmation became part of how God revealed that Rebekah was the right woman. Multiple witnesses, all seeing the same thing from different perspectives. That's how God operates. When God is revealing your soulmate through godly people, your pastor who knows your spiritual maturity expresses genuine peace. Your mentor who has counseled you through other relationships affirms what they see. Your closest friends, the ones who have proven they'll tell you hard truths, consistently speak well of this relationship and this person's character. Not because they're afraid to be honest, but because they genuinely see something good, something from God, something worth pursuing. Here's what's indispensable. The voices that matter are the voices of people who are spiritually mature, who know you well, who have proven over time that they want God's will for your life more than they want their own preferences to be validated, and who have no personal stake in whether this relationship continues or not. When those specific people, your pastor, your mentor, your spiritually grounded parents if you have them, your closest godly friends, express consistent peace over time, that's significant. That's God using his body to confirm what he's showing you individually. And if you're hiding the relationship from your spiritual community, avoiding introducing this person to people who matter, already know what they'd say, and choosing not to ask, pay attention to that. That's not a sign God is revealing your soulmate. The fifth unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through how they handle your calling. Anyone can enjoy the attention you give them, but God reveals your soulmate by showing you how they respond to your calling, the God-given purpose on your life. Do they celebrate it or compete with it? Do they support it or undermine it? Do they encourage you to pursue what God has called you to do? Or do they pressure you to shrink your calling to fit their comfort? Your calling is the assignment God has placed on your life, the specific ways he's designed you to serve him. And the person God has for you won't just tolerate your calling. They'll champion it. They'll recognize it as part of who you are. They'll support you in pursuing it, even when it costs them something, even when it requires sacrifice. Think about Aquila and Priscilla in Acts 18 and Romans 16. They're mentioned together, working together, serving together. Aquila didn't demand that Priscilla minimize her gifts. He didn't compete with her calling. They serve as partners, each using their gifts, each supporting the other's contribution. That partnership, that mutual support of calling, is evidence of a relationship ordained by God. Contrast that with someone who sees your calling as competition. Who gets jealous when you're effective in ministry? Who pressures you to scale back what God has called you to do because they want more of your time and attention? Who makes you choose between them and your calling? That's not your soulmate. That's someone who will spend your marriage trying to shrink you to fit their insecurities. When God is revealing your soulmate, they ask about your ministry and work. They encourage you to use your gifts even when it's inconvenient for them. They make space for you to pursue what God has called you to do. They celebrate your successes without jealousy. They support you through challenges without making you feel guilty for the time and energy it requires. They see your calling as something to be honored, not something to be managed or minimized. Here's what's revealing. The person God has for you won't ask you to choose between them and your calling. They'll help you fulfill both. They'll recognize that your calling is part of what makes you who you are. When you find someone who champions your calling the way they champion your relationship, who sees both as important, both as worthy of investment, that's a sign God is revealing your soulmate. The sixth unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through trials that expose character. Everyone can look good on a date, but God reveals your soulmate by letting you see them in trials, in pressure, in circumstances that expose who they actually are when life gets hard. Because that's the person you'll be married to, not the date version, but the real version that shows up when things fall apart. When God is revealing your soulmate, He'll allow circumstances that test the relationship and reveal character. Maybe it's conflict between you that shows how they handle being wrong. Maybe it's external pressure, a family crisis, a job loss, that reveals how they respond when life isn't easy. Maybe it's a season of distance that shows whether the relationship is built on substance or just proximity. These trials aren't obstacles. They're revelations of whether the relationship can sustain what marriage will require. Think about how God tested Abraham in Genesis 22. God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. Abraham's response revealed everything about the quality of his faith. That trial didn't create Abraham's faith. It revealed faith that was already there, proved it was real. That's what trials do in relationships. They reveal whether character is actually present. When God allows trials that expose character, you'll see how they respond when they're frustrated with you. You'll see whether they're willing to work through hard conversations or whether they shut down and withdraw. You'll see if they can apologize genuinely or if they're too proud to admit fault. You'll see whether they support you through your struggles or whether they're only present when you're performing well. You'll see if their love is conditional on circumstances being favorable or if it holds steady when things get difficult. This is also how you recognize who isn't your soulmate. If the first real conflict reveals that they're unwilling to communicate, unwilling to compromise, unwilling to work toward resolution, that's showing you something. If the first trial reveals that they're only supportive when it's convenient, only kind when you meet their expectations, only invested when everything is going well, that's revealing character that won't sustain marriage. Don't ignore what trials reveal just because the good moments are so good. The good moments show you what's possible. The trials show you what's real. Here's what's paramount. Don't be afraid of trials in the relationship. Don't avoid hard conversations. Don't run from conflict. Trials are how God reveals who this person actually is. And if their character holds up under pressure, if they respond to difficulty with maturity and grace, if they're willing to work through hard things instead of running, that's evidence this relationship can sustain marriage. But if trials reveal immaturity, if pressure exposes character issues, God is showing you clearly that this isn't the person He has for you. The seventh unexpected way God reveals your soulmate is through timing that makes no logical sense. Not when you're ready according to your timeline, not when circumstances are perfectly aligned, not when everything makes logical sense. God reveals your soulmate in His timing, which often defies human logic, but perfectly aligns with His purposes. The timing might seem too early. You're not where you thought you'd be. Or it might seem too late. You've been waiting longer than you expected. But when God's timing arrives, you recognize it wasn't about when you were ready. It was about when He ordained. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11 says God has made everything beautiful in its time. His timing is perfect even when it doesn't match your expectations. When He reveals your soulmate in His timing, everything that needed to happen first has happened. The preparation you needed is complete. The growth you required has occurred. The lessons you had to learn are learned. And the person He's revealing is ready too. Not because they're perfect, but because they've been through their own preparation, their own growth, their own journey that brought them to this moment. Think about Ruth and Boaz in Ruth 2-4. Ruth had to lose her husband, make the decision to follow Naomi to Bethlehem, arrive at exactly the right time, the beginning of barley harvest. She had to happen to glean in Boaz's field specifically. Boaz had to be unmarried and available at that time. All of those circumstances had to align, not by chance, but by God's precise orchestration. What looked like random circumstances was divine appointment. When God reveals your soulmate in His timing, you'll notice that the timing itself is significant. You met them exactly when you were finally ready to recognize them. The circumstances aligned in ways you couldn't have orchestrated. You look back and see that if you'd met them earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. The timing makes no sense from a human perspective, but perfect sense from God's perspective. Here's what's imperative. Trust God's timing even when it doesn't make sense. Don't settle for the wrong person just because you're impatient. Don't force a relationship that isn't ready just because you're tired of waiting. God's timing is part of how He reveals your soulmate. Because when the timing is His, when the preparation is complete, when everything aligns at the moment He ordained, you'll recognize that His way is better than anything you could have planned. Stop looking for the Hollywood version. Start paying attention to how God actually works. When you see these 7 ways, all pointing to the same person, that's when you know this is God revealing your soulmate. Subscribe for more biblical truth about relationships and recognizing God's revelation.